Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, and welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining us here. So I wanted to do a video on friends are closer than family sometimes. So this came to my mind, and it actually does all the time. I'll give you a little backstory. So I have a really close friend, and we've known each other for over 30 years, went to college together, we lived near each other after that for several years, and then again near each other, and have just always been in touch. I was in her wedding, she was at my wedding, and I didn't have bridesmaids, so just so you know that, otherwise she would have been, but yeah, so very close friend of mine. Like I said, we've known each other for over 30 years. So in college, she would have her family come visit, or she would go to her family's, whatever. She has a very large family. Her dad had, I think, 4 siblings, and her mom had 4 siblings. And so all of them, married and had kids. So lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. And they were always so close. Like, I got to know all of the aunts and uncles pretty well. Some of them better than others, and they all lived kind of either in California or Oregon, maybe a couple in Nevada, but they were always having family get-togethers. So my gosh, if there were birthdays in, say, April, they'd do a big April birthday party, and people would come from the other states and get together, and the cousins, and they would go on trips together. And then let's say birthdays in September, they do, another big whatever. And again, everyone's coming from all over and doing a big birthday party. And they're wonderful, lovely, loving people. They're just great. And her parents are too. They're both gone now, but absolutely wonderful, incredible people. And I've been thinking the last several years, since we moved back to Oregon, where I grew up, and, my parents are gone. I have one brother who's a year older. We're very close, not extremely, extremely close, but we're pretty close. And then I have, my mom had 3 siblings. They all married, had kids. My dad didn't have any siblings. Yeah, so I just have the 3 aunts and uncles sets, and then their kids, and they're all grown. They've had really big families, some of them. But we hardly ever talk or anything. So like one aunt and uncle I'm probably the closest with, my mom's sister, and they lived the closest, and we would see them, we'd go visit them once in a while. I would always send, Christmas cards to all the sets. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me, my gosh. And I'll just leave that in because we don't worry about it. That's life. So yeah, I would send cards, Christmas cards usually, would be the only ones I would send throughout the year. And I'd send like happy birthday messages to, especially the aunt and uncle that lived closest and that we were closest to. And most of the time wouldn't hear anything back. Once in a while I'd get a Christmas card back from one of the aunts and uncles. The cousins I stopped sending Christmas cards to a long time ago. They pretty much never, one cousin would, but even that stopped. So people just don't keep in touch, at least in my family. So, and I know we're not supposed to compare, what other people have and other families and this and that, but it's hard for me with my friend who, has this extremely close family, an extended family. I mean, they are, they're on group message chats. They constantly are planning, okay, this get together, we're going to wherever they go. Big trips, maybe cruises, maybe go to Europe, but definitely like birthday get-togethers, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I think Easter they celebrate pretty big, but definitely the holidays at the end of the year. And I'm always like, man, you have the closest, most loving family. And yeah, I just think about it. It's like, my gosh, if my aunts and uncles and cousins and we were all that close, my gosh, we would be doing stuff all the time. And they're nice people and they're fine and all that. No one's like an awful person or anything, but some people they just do their own thing. They have their own family, and maybe, the cousins, they just maybe see their parents once in a while, but a lot of them live far away from their parents. I mean, maybe it was, I was going to say how we were raised, but even growing up, we lived like our house was here, and then my grandparents' house was just up this little hill up here, and then my aunt and uncle had a little house on top of the hill. So we were all really close, while I was growing up until, I graduated, my brother and I graduated and left, and moved away. And, the great aunts and great uncles would come over a lot, and that was so great getting to know them since I was little. Wonderful people, absolutely wonderful people. And of course, they've all been gone for decades and decades. But yeah, I think about my friend, and I've pointed it out, like, you are so blessed to have such a close family, and everyone's always in touch and doing things, and she just, it's normal to her, just like, oh yeah, they're great, whatever. I'm just like, wow. So then I think about my friends who, I'm very close to, maybe a handful of friends, and I talk to them all the time. Try to see them as much as possible, but definitely I'm in communication with them either by text or email, phone calls. So, but yeah, like I would say I have probably 5 very close friends that are way closer, hundreds of times closer than my relatives. And it's like, gosh, I mean, I don't know. And I've tried reaching out, some birthdays have just gone by. I've messaged, I've texted. Yeah, I can make a phone call, and I've done that before, which maybe I should do that next. There's an event going on in Oregon that my uncle goes to, so maybe after that's over in a couple weeks, I'll call them and just check in. But, it's like, but my mom used to always say, that her siblings, wouldn't really keep in touch, and you would have to be the one reaching out and calling and writing a letter, back in the day in the 80s and whatever, you wrote letters, and that's how I grew up. And so, yeah, I seem to always compare to my friend who has just this, like I said, there's 5 on each side, her dad's side, her mom's side, and they all married just wonderful people, and they're all getting older and passing away, and so it's really dwindled down. But I still know she'll say, oh, we're going to this city to go see Aunt so-and-so and Uncle so-and-so, and I know who. Okay, sorry everyone, I was having a coughing attack. So I'll probably edit that one out. So yeah, like I was saying, I seem to just think about, because that family, that extended family, I was probably the closest with out of all of my college friends. And I'm just thinking, maybe high school friends too, and then after college. But yeah, so I really got to know them and all the cousins. And even I would always be invited to go to these get-togethers, birthday parties, events, maybe a concert or whatever was going on. And yeah, so I don't know if that all makes sense. Let me know what you guys think if you're in a similar situation. If you think, gosh, my family is so spread out and non-communicative and they don't keep in touch, and and even people sometimes have just like not relatives that they want to hang out with. I don't want to say bad people, but you guys know what I'm saying. So yeah, so let me know. I wanted to do a video. Maybe this will encourage someone if they're feeling like, gosh, is it just me who just has this family that isn't really there? And, my friends have these incredible families, or I'm closer to my friends than all of my family members. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, if this makes sense. Yeah, all right. Well, I hope everyone's having a great day. Sorry about the interruption, and I will see everyone in the next video. All right, God bless.